Finally, a victory for the Philadelphia Eagles as they end their 3-game losing streak with a convincing and dominant win over the Las Vegas Raiders. 31-0, your final at Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia this afternoon in Week 15. Let's recap it and react to it all. Are the Philadelphia Eagles back? We'll dive into that. You're watching Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's post-game show a part of your day. So, Birds win it, and they pitch a shutout in the process, 31-0. They were dominant in all phases of the game. Offense was great. Defense, even better. Even on special teams, Philadelphia pitching a shutout and a perfect game. And you look at the yardage totals for Las Vegas and the Eagles in this game, this was a one-sided beatdown. Kenny Pickett, 15-25 for 64 yards and a pick. Zach Bond climbed the ladder to go up and get it. Ashton Genty only had 9 carries for 35 yards. He couldn't get going. The Eagles shut down the Raiders' top skill position player in Brock Bowers. He only had 6 catches for 28 yards. A couple of good reps for Cooper DeJean on him today. The story of this game was this Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts was great, 12 of 15, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 22 totes, 78 yards, found the paint. And Dallas Goedert, 6 grabs for 70, 2 touchdowns, should have been a third, but he dropped a nice little touch pass from Hurts when the Eagles had to settle for a field goal. And you look at the aforementioned yardage differences. The least amount of yards for the Las Vegas Raiders since at least 2000, as far as the database goes back at the moment. Philadelphia outgained the Raiders 387-75. 204 passing yards through the air, 29 net gain for the Raiders, 183 rushing yards for the Eagles as Tank Bigsby also got going, 46 for the Raiders. This is a big one here too. Philadelphia's been bad on third downs during this 3-game losing streak, and all year they've been a little bit spotty. 10 of 13 today, and they won time of possession nearly 40 minutes to 20 minutes. And I know a lot of you are already saying, Chase, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. Who cares? They are now 2-11 on the year. I said it in the lead up to this game. I think they're the worst team in football right now because I think they're worse than the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Jets. I don't give a damn that this win for the Eagles came against the Las Vegas Raiders. Here is why. I had said all week, I really like some of the things that the Eagles did against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. I liked what they wanted to accomplish and what they ended up doing at moments in that game. There were differences and adjustments with the scheme, with personnel, with play designs, and with play calling. Some of the execution I was a big fan of. Nick Sirianni had more say with the Eagles offense going into that Chargers game, and we saw results visually with our eyes that the Eagles were really trying to do things differently and be more innovative, be more creative, be more modern day. And I had said this week, I did not want the Eagles to shy away from those strides just because Jalen Hurts turned it over 5 times against the Chargers. In fact, I wanted the Eagles to double down and continue to do the things that they did in the Chargers game and implement those within the game plan going up against the Raiders. Because over the long haul, this Eagles offense can reach its ceiling and it can be its best when they're doing things that are more creative, which forces the defense to cover every blade of grass, to be less predictable, harder to defend, and just be more innovative, creative, aggressive, and exotic. And I thought you saw a carryover effect from that Chargers game to this Raiders game. What the Eagles badly needed to do was go out there and dominate. They needed to have some style points. They needed to gain confidence. I think they do that now by winning the way that they did in thumping the Raiders. Your quarterback needed to play better. Your quarterback played better. You wanted to continue to get the ground game going, working off the heels of last week. Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby were successful on the ground, although this offensive line, I don't think is going to be able to turn it around to a level where the Eagles can be dominant running it. I wanted to see the Eagles be more balanced and get more players involved. We saw that. I wanted to see Kevin Patullo work with Jalen Hurts and do some things differently. Move the pocket, call more RPOs, put Jalen Hurts under center, run some design quarterback runs. And we saw all of those things in this game, and it resulted in arguably the best offensive performance of the year for the Eagles here this afternoon. And I think that this is something to work off of. You establish a little bit of momentum against the Chargers. A lot of people felt as though the sky was falling, and it was to a certain degree. But I came away after studying the tape encouraged with what the Eagles did in that game. I come away more encouraged after doing this yet again and doing it even better in this game against Las Vegas. The magic number to win this division is now 2. Dallas Cowboys play tonight, Sunday Night Football, against the Vikings at home, and that 2 is combined Eagles wins and Cowboys losses. You have Commanders, Bills, Commanders coming up on the schedule. It's the final month of the year. It is gut check time. It is time to start playing your best football, gathering confidence, gathering momentum so that you peak late when the playoffs are on the horizon. And I just think that this performance against the Raiders today was a great step in the right direction of doing that and getting hot at the right time with the playoffs around the corner and ending what was looking to be potentially, and still could perhaps be, a 2023 level collapse. But the coaching staff, even the owner and Jeffrey Lurie, the players have said this 2025 team is much different than 2023. From a practice habit standpoint, to emphasizing some of the little things, to our confidence, to the talent, to the personnel, all across the board. And remember in 2023, when the Eagles had lost to the 3-win Arizona Cardinals, I know the Raiders aren't a good football team. But the Eagles went out there and left no doubt, and they went belt to ass from the start of this game until the end of it. And I just think that the Eagles and Eagle fans needed to witness a performance like this, where the Eagles win in dominant fashion, but they look good in the process, and now they can get that swagger back. They're tested. They're champions. The pedigree is there. The history of this team accomplishing great things is there. A lot of members of this team won the Super Bowl last year. We're in the Super Bowl in 2022. They're ready to go, but I think they needed to see and feel positive results like this, which is why I do think that the Eagles potentially could be back with this win. Because then you do it again against Washington. You go on the road, you play a Bills team that can't stop anybody, but they're a playoff level team. Then you return home once again against Washington, and if you can string together a few good performances, you get to host a playoff game. If you win this division, anything is possible in a wide open NFC. But what was required was for this offense to play up to their potential, and that is still what is required. And today we saw flashes of that. I have a lot more to get to. We can continue to react to this Eagles 31-0 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. But let's get to our sponsor, our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, the best sportsbook in the game. Now, producer Chip, my right-hand man, the producer of Eagles Now, is also the host of our 76ers channel. I used to host that back in the day, but Eagles Now has grown to a point where now Chip is crushing it talking Sixers basketball, and I'm glad to see his success over there. You will notice that the code is Sixers Chat. That is why, because DraftKings is a sponsor of our Sixers channel. We want to plug it for our Philadelphia audience and those of you who are Philly fans, nation and worldwide, and here's more information on that.
We're only a few weeks in, and the NBA season is already wild. Stars are going off, rookies are making noise, and the action doesn't stop. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you can get in on all of it. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, bet just $5 and get $200 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Chips picks, little parlay action. This is how it works. Saquon Barkley touchdown today. Ashton Genty 50-plus rushing yards. Dallas Goedert 40-plus receiving yards. Odds and lines subject to change. Bet $5, get $200 if you win. Use that code SixersChat. So let's talk a little bit about the quarterback here. Jalen Hurts has been pretty bad since the bye week. Statistically, one of the worst quarterbacks in football. And I had said this past week, you need to let him continue to work through his struggles because we know that this formula works. We know the type of player that he can be. He's been hot and cold throughout his career. I think a lot of that is the fact that he's had, 10 offensive coordinators over the last 10 years. No continuity there. But he needed to work through some of his blemishes, iron out some of the wrinkles, work on some of these new conceptual things that the Eagles were working on as an offense. And for him to go out there and have this performance today, I think that's big for his confidence. It's big for the belief of everybody else in the locker room. It's big for this coaching staff. You're now getting a sample size the last 2 games when you've made some adjustments of what is working. And Jalen Hurts goes out there today, was nearly perfect. 12 of 15, 175 yards, 11.7 yards per completion, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Should have been 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a perfect rating of 154.9. Now, I do still have concerns about this Eagles running game, but I do think that the Eagles are at their best when they're a balanced offense and when everybody is getting involved. And so, Saquon, for the second time of the season last year, ran over 100 yards. In this game, he started to get going a little bit more as the game progressed, and there were flashes of some really nice runs, really nice instances of blocking up front from a schematic standpoint, good points of execution, and really, now that I'm thinking about it, not a lot of bad penalties on this Eagles offense today. Saquon, 22 carries, 78 yards, found the end zone once, good for him, 3.5 yards per carry. But the Eagles as a team made it a point of emphasis to run the ball more. They had 23 carries in the first half. It was the biggest halftime shutout deficit of Nick Sirianni's career with the Eagles up 17-0. What I also really like to see was Tank Bigsby getting involved. This comes down to, can the Eagles find an identity the final month of the season? Well, now we're entering the final 3 weeks and 3 games of the season. Find a way to get Tank Bigsby more carries and become more of a running team. Even if it's not working, continue to churn, continue to run, because you have confidence that at some point the run game is going to break through. And that happened today with Saquon. It happened today with Tank Bigsby. 17 carries for 57 yards. And when you establish the run, it opens up the pass game. What was also big in this game, there's been a lot of chatter about Jalen Hurts shying away from designed and called quarterback runs. I thought whether it was in structure, meaning it was a designed quarterback run, or out of structure, Hurts made a couple of big plays today with his feet, which makes him a more dynamic and better player. 7 carries for 39 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and a couple of those carries came in really big moments. For instance, a 3rd and 12 draw play in which he cuts it up, gets to the outside, moves the chains. There was another play on 3rd down where he's able to run down to the 2-yard line, which set up another score. Hurts needs to be more willing to run the ball and use his legs from a design standpoint, but also a playmaking standpoint. This week, if you watch some of the shows, I had said, it's great that A.J. Brown has gotten going. Prior 3 games before today, went over 100 yards in each of them. Number 1 in targets and receiving yards, number 1 PPR wideout. But I think when the Eagles force him the ball, they're a worse off offense. Today, you saw more of a balanced approach as far as guys getting involved, but also running the ball with your backs and with Jalen. So Goedert, 6 for 70, 2 touchdowns. This offense has played its best football when they are led by Dallas Goedert and DeVonta Smith through the pass game. DeVonta Smith, 2 catches for 50, one of which a 44-yarder, which led to a field goal on the Goedert drop. Great throw from Jalen. AJ still got involved. 2 catches for 41, scored a touchdown, a rope from Jalen Hurts. 27 yards, and Hurts kind of crashed out after the touchdown toss. He was fired up, and him and AJ Brown smash helmets. That's a good sign that maybe they have worked on their differences. They're on a better page. We even got Tanner McKee in this game. Darius Cooper, 2 catches for 29. Saquon, 2 catches for 14. Grant Calcaterra, 1 catch for 4. It was a 3rd down conversion from Tanner McKee. That's really most of my thoughts on the offensive performance today. Really liked what the Eagles did. 7 points in the first quarter, 10 in the second, 7 in the third, 7 in the fourth. And when the offense can play just close to what they did today, obviously against better teams, it's going to be hard to be that dominant. But if they can do some of the things that they did against the Raiders, against the Chargers, play cleaner against some of these quality teams, and you combine that with this defense, this Eagles team can be scary. This Eagles team can get back to being the team to beat in the NFC. Because on defense, I thought they were just superb, dominant, and great today. They were all over Kenny Pickett. 4 sacks, 6 TFLs, 5 passes defended, 9 quarterback hits. They pressured Pickett all day long. Nakobe Dean continues his great play. 2 TFLs for him. Brandon Graham had 2 sacks in the game. And he's been rushing from defensive tackle, which I think has given the Eagles some interior juice on pass rushing downs without Jalen Carter. 1 TFL for him as well. Moro Ajomo had a sack and a TFL. Nolan Smith had a sack and a TFL. Zach Bond had the pick. Jalix Hunt, very active in this game. He had a TFL and 2 quarterback hits. Jalen Phillips had 2 passes defended, and he got after the quarterback from a pressure standpoint. He had 2 quarterback hits as well. So this defense is Super Bowl caliber, which is why all of us had so many frustrations about this offense, because they are holding the team back from reaching their ceiling, reaching their fullest potential. But the summary of today's show, the summary of today's game, is that this offense needed a confidence boost. This offense needed style points. This offense needed another step in the good direction, because that Chargers game was a step in a positive direction. And they got that today. And I think that can be extremely beneficial for a team like the Eagles when you play in a media market like this, for a fan base like this, where when you drop 3 straight games, things can get really heavy, things can get really hard, and things can get tumultuous, messy, and drama-laden. So I think the Eagles are back. And I want to see this once again against Washington on the road next week. You need to get to a point where now you can string together a couple of really positive performances, because you know what your defense is at this point. They're proven. Now it's up to the offense to do their thing. What say you? The theme of today's show, the question that I posed you with at the start of the postgame show, are the Eagles back? Yes or no? Hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 140,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody who tuned into our postgame show. You're all the best. We appreciate you.